Hello everybody. Today we're going to bring you not just one, but two different clutches of egg cuttings. Now, what I mean by egg cuttings on the first one of these is more of just an egg showing. I believe every single one of them pipped today. Before we get started, please consider subscribing and dropping a like on the video if you enjoy this type of content. It really helps us out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and meet the parents of clutch number one. For our first clutch, we got 10 eggs, so not too shabby at all. Our female was one of my normals named Pacer. She is very unique looking, and I know that people say that a lot about normals. I have another normal that I think the same thing of, but her more so. I basically did this pairing to just kind of maybe isolate something if there is something there. This is nothing too crazy or off the wall. I want to see maybe if there's something going on with her. The male of this clutch was our Fire Pastel Russo Het Clown Boy that we named Dillinger. He's really cool, but there's nothing too crazy about that. Russo is one of the very first blue-eyed leucistic genes that was ever discovered. It is more or less a very subtle gene, kind of like Yellowbelly, but even more so. They're just a little bit brighter. It really stands out when it's combined with other things. As you can see in him, adult pastels, even with fire, don't typically look this good in my opinion. So the Russo just kind of gives it a little bit more oomph. So as long as there's no crazy things that happen here, what we're looking at is the possibility of fires, pastels, Russos. Everything will be 50% het clowns, which means we're not going to know unless we do a genetic test or breed eventually. But it'll be a 50-50 chance that that het clown gene gets passed down, and then combos of all those put together. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Again, I'm not expecting anything too crazy out of this, but anytime you get eggs, it's an exciting time. And pet quality is important, honestly, in my opinion. I strongly advise that you diversify not just what your genes are, but what you're offering to. Don't just go for that crazy next big thing. You want to get your name out there, and you're going to get your name out there with things like this and making connections with people. So as you can see, all but one have pipped. So let's leave that one till last, right? We already see you. So let's go ahead and get you back in there. One thing I forgot to mention is it is also possible to hit normals on this. Although the odds are not in our favor to do that. Let's hope that we don't, but it is a possibility. Okay, definitely different. I don't think it's normal. I don't know if I want to say pastel, although this head stamp definitely suggests pastel. It would definitely be a dirty pastel. I think this one could be the Russo, and it might just be Russo. There's also fire in here too, so what am I thinking? It could be that. Yeah, I think it might be fire. So as it comes out, see that really dark side? That's what kind of maybe tells me that there's some contrast there. There's also some gradient in there too, so I'm gonna have to look at this one once it gets out, but there's something unique going on here. This is not a normal, that's for sure. So that's pretty cool. I'll take that for first one. I definitely think we've got fire in here. And then I think maybe Russo. All right, look, this dude just shot out. So he wants to come out, so we'll let him. This might be one of the larger clutches. Oh, God, chill out. I'm thinking Firefly. Pastel, at least. And I think maybe fire. But look at these patterns. There's a lot of variety on there. This is what I'm talking about with how she was really weird with her pattern. So a lot of banding, fairly clean. So definitely Fire Pastel. I think Russo is in here as well. I think we might have hit everything, but then the pattern is just kind of crazy, which I mean that can happen up there too. But this is a huge snake. This is an active snake. This thing wants to come out. Look at this sucker. What are you doing there, buddy? What are you doing? I like this one quite a bit, and it's huge. Again, nothing super duper crazy, but this pattern is just something to it. Look at this. Look how many dots there are in these things. Just all over the place. I can't wait to see this one out. Now, what in the world is with these guys? Okay, you're next. They're huge. Mind you, these were laid on April 20th. They were due to hatch, I believe it was the 19th of this month of June. And technically, I will look into cutting 5 days before their hatch date because they always pip for me. It's a day before quote unquote cut, and they've all pretty much hatched. Tells you what ball pythons know about what they're supposed to do. Whoa, so there's definitely something different. Like, look at the flaming on there. The pattern is very different. What on earth am I looking at? I'm gonna have to wait on a lot of these, because if we're gonna say that this one's fire here, I don't believe that this one is. So I think that we're gonna have to determine this by process of elimination. So I do not believe this is fire. I also do not believe it is pastel, but it is not normal. Not with that. This is the only alien head on the whole thing. Everything else is just different. I'm gonna have to see this out of the egg. There's something going on. This one was kind of poking out, so let's let you go. I think we are looking at a Fire Pastel again, and I think I'd say Russo, but what? Okay. But just a lot of cool patterns here. Like I said, I think I got another Firefly. I'd say probable Russo. Again, they need to come out and they need to shed. That's gonna tell me a lot of my doubts, but I'm having a lot of doubts right now. And for something so simple, I shouldn't be doing that. Like I said, the only guaranteed genes here are Fire, Pastel, Russo. And I see some of that in some of these snakes for sure. Russo can be hard to determine, but there's just a lot of stuff I just don't get here. This tells me fire, some of this blushing stuff, but the pattern is just crazy. What? See this? It's done it twice. It's like a jack in the box. Certainly one of the more entertaining clutches I've ever cut. I'm more just having fun cutting these. I'm a little perplexed on some of this, just the craziness of it, but I'd say Fire Pastel, possible Russo right now. All right, we'll just complete this row right here. Cut this one. They're all crazy. Okay, this is 100% pastel. Look at how light that head is. As you cut, you start to almost second guess, and the picture starts to become more clear. Because as you start to get the results, things start to make more sense with the ingredients that you put into it. We haven't gotten one this light of a head before. So now I'm almost doubting some of my guesses on Fire Pastel. On some of those, a couple of those anyways, might just be fires. And I think that this one might be Fire Pastel. But again, Russo's in there, and it's a lightning gene as well. Again, I think I got it all here. This is definitely a Firefly, which is pastel fire. And I would have to say Russo as well. That's a very light head. Again, you've got some blushing in there, but then the blacks are jet black. This is a really cool one as well. But now that we kind of have a clear picture to look at, we can grab some of our other ones and start to make more sense of things. This one still is a little perplexing to me because it's not pastel, it's not fire. So maybe it is. Maybe it is actually. It is a little bit more light, but I think this one might just be Russo. This is definitely pastel. Not sure about anything else. Maybe Russo. And I think what we have here, this one's tougher. I think it might be a pastel fire still without the Russo. So, but the picture's becoming a little more clear because this one has that head stamp that I haven't seen yet. So. Well, if we got a normal, this is it. Could be Russo. Again, I'm getting like this blushing and whatnot on there, but that can happen. You see that a lot. I think this might just be a normal. But you see how dirty it is. Look at some of these patterns though. Just real odd. Just like the mom. This might just be Russo. You get a lot of blushing and you get this white highlighting kind of around the pattern. So I'd have to say this is a Russo. We'll wait to see when they come out, but I think we've got is just a Russo here. Another really white head. So Fire Pastel. You know, I'm pretty happy with this. I know this is nothing too crazy or groundbreaking, but these look pretty cool and they're gonna make great pets, but there's also something I think going on here. So when they come out, I'm going to be deeply studying this and talking to some other breeders about, I think, some of this. If I think there's something special enough in here, I might keep something just to experiment myself. This one's cool. It's got this very nice blushing, but yet it's jet black around the borders of all these patterns, and the pattern is just really cool, like almost like Mojave-ish. Can't wait to see these out of the egg. I don't like cutting them when they're already starting to come out because I don't know exactly where they're at. Again, this is shades of the mom. Just these patterns, I'm just seeing this consistently. By the way, I'm not trying to say I have like some brand new gene. More or less, I probably have something that I don't know what it is yet, if I'm correct. There's a lot of research that goes into that, and sometimes you find out that, oh, you just have a really cool looking insert normal incomplete dominant gene. But I don't know, like this is not what you expect in a normal. And there is variation in normals, but most normals are the way they look with some alien heads, and I'm not really seeing a lot of that here. All right, last one. This is the only one that didn't come out to the party. Unfortunately on that one, we do have a reason it did not pip, and that is because it is heavily deformed. So unfortunately, my bad luck with some of that stuff continues. Obviously 9 out of 10 were good. I don't know if it's alive, not moving. It's definitely got decent kink in there. If it can live, pet quality for somebody, because I think that they deserve life. But I know obviously if it's beyond the ability to live a life that's free of pain, or if it can't digest meals, then I have to call it, which is unfortunate. But all in all, I think I definitely have something thing in the female. Got a fairly good representation here of some good pet quality animals. When they come out though, I'm gonna want to take a closer look at a lot of these. Honestly, I want to take a look at the closer ones that I think might just be possibly just one gene that I don't understand. The ones that I don't understand just by themselves are the ones I'm more interested in, at least from a breeding standpoint, because the chase to isolate any gene that could or could not exist in that female is just too intriguing for me. For our next clutch, this one, there's not as many, and that's why really we're doing 2 together. There was 3 good eggs and 3 slugs, and one of those good eggs honestly wasn't all that good. It was a very small boob egg, and I named it Hope in hope that it would hatch, but I'm not thinking that we're gonna get a viable baby out of this, but we're gonna take a look to see if maybe anything's changed overnight. So the female, this is her 2nd year breeding for me. She is a pied. That is what I bought her as, but with these saddles and the very granulated pattern, I suspect Yellowbelly, and I guess that was in the pairing. That is another objective of mine, is to try to see if I can't find that in there, because the male that I bred it to, we named Dave, is an Enchi Pastel pied. It could also be Super Pastel, so that's another thing. Try to maybe figure that out. With just 2 eggs though, it's going to be very difficult to prove much out here. This is his first clutch that he's ever sired. He has been bred to a couple others for me that are about to lay, but everything here should at least be pied. We also have the potential for Enchi, Pastel, and then of course we're going to try to see if we can prove out Yellowbelly. That's going to be a little bit harder, but Yellowbelly, Enchi, Pastel, all those together, they can produce some pretty cool, unique results. So let's go ahead and see what we get. So there's not as much left here, but everything should be visual pied, so therefore should be a little more exciting. Again, there's one in here that I cut, as you can see, very, very teeny. We're not gonna go ahead and show that one because it's just looking at animals that did not make it. It's not fun. Goopy. I like what I'm seeing though. I'm really digging that side right there. Holy cow. I was suspecting Orange Dream could be in it, but I don't know. This one's tough to say. How is this a pied? This is pied to pied. Abnormal pattern. This is more like the ODYB stuff. But I'm gonna say Enchi Pastel pied. But some of the pattern on this just being so white at the bottom of it. And this faded pattern there. I need to see this out of the egg. This is unique. They're very goopy. They're 100% pied. So Enchi pied. It's not going to show us much more, unfortunately, right now. But Enchi pied is what I'm saying here. This one has more whites on the side, though. Yeah, Enchi pied, Enchi Pastel pied might be a little more going on until it meets the eye there, but we'll see. Oh, okay. Well, we're setting up the shot here to just show off the final picture of the animals. Look at the difference between these 2 clutches. They were laid 2 days apart, and the difference between these animals, this is huge. You're already out, so oh my gosh, I could trick someone and put this on a table and be like, yep, wow, for a hatchling ball python, that might be one of the largest animals I've ever hatched. I'm curious about how much it weighs. Look at that. That's paradoxing. It's so subtle, but that is definitely a paradox of some sort. A lot of interesting stuff going on with this animal. I don't know what the hell you are right now, but you might just be mine. I'm happy. You know, I wasn't expecting really anything from this, but this one was cool. You know, maybe it's just good to hatch ball pythons, get this ball rolling. Now, with that said, I have no more eggs in the incubator because my season is just so weird. I've got a bunch that are about to lay now, and then I've got, I think, 3 or 4 that go really late in the year. So those lay around August and even November. I'm really digging these. So simple, but yet so cool. Pretty happy. Obviously, a couple things I wish had been a little bit differently done here. You know, obviously we've got a deformity, and then this little one here, you know, I did not make it. And obviously I'm not gonna show the snake in there. It's very teeny. This was a living creature. There's a snake in here. It's just, it's not alive. Overall though, not bad. If you wanted to check out some more of our egg cutting videos like these, you can actually click on the video link on the screen right now.